Hey, it's Rich. Today in Family Matters, I want to remind you how important what you do at home matters. You see, the things that happen on Sunday morning and Wednesday night here at church, they're important. But when you take the opportunity to have conversations, spiritual conversations with your kids, you are leveraging the greatest influence in your child's life. I know you know, but I want to remind you, it doesn't matter if your child is a preschooler or if they are a high school senior. You still have significant influence in their life. You are the primary spiritual influencer in their life. And so if you think about how the spiritual conversations you're having, a lot of times when they're younger, we have more spiritual conversations. We ask them, what did you talk about today in church? We ask questions like, at prayer time, you have that consistent prayer time either around the table or at bedtime. But you know, as they grow older, we stop having some of those consistent points. I know at our house, between ball games and homework and all the other activities, sometimes it's hard to even get a handful of meals around the table each week. And so you don't have those consistent marking points. And so it doesn't matter if they're in preschool or high school, you've got to have ongoing spiritual conversations. When my son was in preschool, we'd pick him up, and every Sunday on the way home from church, we would ask him, all right, what was your Bible study about today? And every single week for several months in their life group class, they talked about Jesus going to the big dump. Now, I know that wasn't what they talked about, but for whatever reason, he talked about that every Sunday. You see, we could change those into spiritual conversations, but I just want you to know, if you don't get comfortable while they're young, or if you haven't become comfortable having spiritual conversations with your elementary age child or your teenager, I want to encourage you to navigate into those waters. Begin asking questions like, how can I pray for you? What are you most anxious about? Tell me about your favorite Bible verse. Or let's talk briefly just about a Bible story. Begin consistently reading the Bible at a mealtime. Find ways to have spiritual conversations, because the truth is, as your kids reach elementary, preteen, middle school, and high school, it becomes harder to have those consistent conversations if you don't weave it into the fabric of your family time. Don't push away and think that we'll leave that to the church. The truth is, if you will have spiritual conversations at home and we have spiritual conversations at church, you see, the two influences working together will have a much greater influence than just one of the influences working alone. That's this week's Family Matters. Have spiritual conversations with your kids and your teenagers. Push into it. You will not regret making that a priority.